I'm going to show my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yes. Today we are looking at the Geography Paper 1. Welcome to this online lesson. By
Thank
names
you,
of teacher Benard. He's going to take you through this afternoon session. Today we are looking at rock weathering, what you normally call weathering. Okay, so weathering, I wanted to first know from you what you understand by the term weathering. You're going to unmute yourselves, or I mean, you're going to raise your hand. Then I pick you. I ask you to unmute. So what is weathering? Raise your hand and give a suggestion. What do you understand by weathering? Yes? Anyone want to put the hand up and talk about weathering? We have never heard about weathering. Yes, Jim, you can talk to us. GM.
Okay. Weathering is the disintegration of rocks into small particles.
That's very good. That's a good trial. Okay, another one. You can lower your hand. I'm picking Ime. Ime, unmute and speak.
Weathering is the decomposition of rocks in situ.
Yes, that's wonderful. Others we can put in the chat. Okay, so having talked about weathering, such kind of features were brought about because of weathering. You can look at that. This is also because of weathering. This is also due to weathering. You see that weathering is really a great geomorphic process that takes place on top of the Earth's surface. All this is because of weathering. So from there, I want us to watch a small video and then we continue to know what weathering is. Can you see my black screen? Yes, Rob. Unmute and speak. Rwanda. Rwanda, Rob, unmute and speak. Yes. We can. Yes, come again.
I thought that those mountains were brought by volcanists.
Okay, we are going to watch this video. Then later we can share a few lessons from it, and then we proceed. Let me know if you can see my screen and if you're hearing very well.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
So, yes, let's continue to watch the video. Okay, that was the video. We can share some lessons from that video, and then we are able to tell what weathering is. You can put up your hand and share with us. Yes, the first hand. Share with us what you have known that weathering is. Yes, Becky. Is it Bebe? Yes, Bebe.
Teacher, weathering is like the breaking and decomposition or decomposition of rocks
Yes, that's
on
good.
the Earth's surface.
Sure. Jennifer.
Weathering is the breakdown of rocks and soils into smaller pieces through chemical and mechanical reactions
Very
on the
good.
Earth's surface.
Linton. Linton.
Weathering is the disintegration of rocks into small particles by either chemical or mechanical means.
What else did you get from the video?
I got that the earth was originally made up of rocks.
Okay. Ime.
Weathering can be done mechanically and chemically.
Okay. So Becky, Linton, and Ime, you can put your hands down, and then we go next. So now, to start with, we are saying that no, I'll pick Bruce. Bruce, can you unmute? Bruce? Okay, I need someone to raise the hand and read this slide. I will not read anything apart from the explanation. You can raise up your hand. Yes, Linton. Caroline, you will read the next slide. Linton. Okay, Caroline, start.
When rocks are formed, they are strong, consolidated, and cohesive. With time, however, this strength, consolidation, and cohesiveness produces, and the heat
The heat-hatto consolidated rock particles loosen. Continue.
to consolidated rocks from. When this happens, we say that the rock has been weathered down.
Yes. So here we are saying that when rocks of the earth form, you find that let's say this is the rock, and when this rock has formed, you find that it is very strong, and it is in one place. But as time goes on, you'll find that this rock is loosening. It is loosening, and we are saying that the cohesiveness reduces. The strength it has, it starts to reduce. And then some particles start falling away. So when those parts of the rock start falling away, we say that the rock has been weathered down. And then going forward, we want to know what weathering is. Next slide is 4. Put up your hand. Next slide is 4. Put up your hand. Yes, Bebe.
Bebe.
Bebe K.
Okay. Weathering refers to the disintegration and decomposition of rocks into increasing these smaller particles or granules that is in one place with no movement involved. Rock disintegration is majorly affected by agents of weather, mostly rainfall and temperature, hence the name weathering. Other agents of weathering are burns, wind, living organisms, lightning, gravity, and crystallization.
Okay, thank you very much. So here we are now defining what weathering is. It is either the disintegration or decomposition. You find that a rock which has been bigger, it is now breaking into smaller particles. The particles are falling off from the bigger rock. That is what we can call disintegration. Maybe it developed some cracks, and that's why the smaller particles are breaking from it. Alternatively, the rock as it is, it could have got cracks, and then these cracks, water enter in those cracks. And when water enter into these cracks, it will make this rock to decay, that is decomposition, or it will keep expanding those cracks because of expansion and contraction. It may lead to the breaking of that rock. So here we are saying that weathering refers to the disintegration and decomposition of rocks into increasing smaller particles or granules. Those smaller particles can be called granules in situ. So when we talk of in situ, that is in one place without no movement. So situ is a geography word. It is from Greek, and so it means no movement is involved. So the rock is there, rain finds it there, sunshine finds it there, and you find it is breaking into smaller particles, or because of too much rainfall, rocks are decomposing into other rocks. Then we are saying that why do we have the term weathering? It's because of the agents of weather, that is rain and temperature. They are the major agents of weathering, or rain and temperature are the main causes of weathering. However, we have others like ice, the freeze and thaw. Then we have wind, living organisms, lightning, gravity, and crystallization. So we shall look at all these in details, but basically that's what you need to know, what weathering is. Next slide is for who? Next slide is for who? Yes, Linton. Linton is off. Okay.
Weathering takes place in three types of physical, chemical, and biological processes. Physical, mechanical weathering is the disintegration of rocks into smaller fragments without any change in the chemical composition of the rock. It occurs due to the physical changes of pressure and temperature that puts the rock on stress and leads to rock breakdown.
Yes, thank you. So we are saying that weathering takes place in three categories: physical, chemical, and biological. Linton, your hand is up. What's up? Linton?
Yes,
Okay.
I had just forgotten to put it down.
Yes, Ruanga. Rob? Okay, we continue. So we are looking at the three categories of weathering, that is physical, chemical, and biological. Under physical weathering, which is normally called mechanical weathering, we are looking at when a rock is big and then it is breaking into smaller particles, or call them fragments. But then the chemical composition of the rock doesn't change. For example, if the rock, if it is a volcanic rock, you will find that once there is too much temperature on it, it will break into smaller particles, but it will not change from, maybe if it was silk, it will not change from silica to something else. It will remain silica, but it breaks into smaller particles. If it was a basalt rock, it will remain a basalt rock, but break into smaller particles. Like if you can go in your compound or in the field, you pick a rock, you hit it with a hammer. It will remain that type of rock, but instead the size is the one which is reducing. That's the point. It only reduces in size, but the composition, the make remains the same. So you find that there are some rocks, because of pressure, maybe the rock is underground. For example, it is below a road, and the tractor is passing. This rock may break into smaller particles, but it will remain with its chemical composition. That's what it means. Next slide is for who? At least all of us should read by the time we leave here. Stuart, are you still there? Next slide is for Stuart. Stuart? Oh, yes, good. Another person can raise their hand. Okay, you may read from there.
Physical weathering occurs under conditions of temperature fluctuations, mainly in semi-arid areas that experience wide high temperatures during the day and cold rights, as well as cold mountain peaks of Rwenzori, Kenya, and Kilimanjaro. It takes place in form of exfoliation, block disintegration, granular disintegration, pressure release, first action, and first heaving.
Okay, could you repeat this word? I'm going to highlight it. Repeat this word.
Exfoliation.
That's good. Yeah, you have now read it proper. Okay, so physical weathering, we are saying that it occurs because of the fluctuations in temperature. For example, during the day, it is hot. During night, it is cold. This means that the rock which received too much heat during the day, it is going to expand. And when it comes at night, because of too much coldness, this rock is trying to contract. So the continued expansion and contraction of the rock, it leads to Techno F1. What is your name?
Asimu Helen.
Okay. Can you rename to Asimu Helen? So Asimu Helen, we are looking at the fluctuations in temperatures when there is when we have hot temperatures during the day and cold nights. These ones bring about expansion and contraction. So continued expansion and contraction will lead to the disintegration of the rock. So the rock is going to break into particles. And then we are saying that physical weathering has types. So it takes in the forms of exfoliation, block disintegration, granular disintegration, pressure release, frost action, and frost heaving. We shall look at all these ones in details, because you'll find that we come here for a lesson and then we are studying only exfoliation and block disintegration. In the beginning, I remember showing you, you see this type of rock?
Yes.
This is what we call the block disintegration. So look at how the rocks have been modified, and this is because of weathering. Then here, exfoliation, where you find that the topmost layers are being torn away, and then you remain with the inside rocks. All this is rock disintegration, granular disintegration. So those were types, but in pictures. Okay. Someone else take us from here. Let's mute if you are not speaking, otherwise I will mute all of you. Yes, Robert. Robert?
Therefore,
Yes.
this type of weathering works on rocks to make little ones out of big of the rock. That is disintegrate into smaller particles, but mainly their previous chemical characteristics. What changes is only the physical size. It is mostly affected by temperature changes.
Yes, that is what we can say about physical weathering. Bigger rocks producing smaller ones because of temperature. Today it is hot, during the day, at night it is cold. So expansion, contraction will bring about the rocks to disintegrate into smaller particles. Okay, next. This is what happens. So you find a rock which was bigger, it is breaking into smaller particles, and that's what we mean by physical weathering. Let's look at chemical weathering. I'm picking Alexander, Edrin. Alexander, Edrin.
So is the decomposition materials resulting into potential or complete range. I mean, resulting into partial or complete change in the chemical composition.
Begin from afresh.
Okay.
His network is no good, sir.
The decomposition of into residual materials.
Asimo Helen, can you read?
Chemical is the disintegration of rocks into.
No, reread. Read what is seen. Don't change the meaning. Start.
Chemical is the decomposition of rocks into residual materials resulting in partial or complete change in the chemical composition of rocks. It is due to chemical reactions between rock materials and the atmospheric elements such as water and gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen, among others. Chemical weathering takes place under conditions of high humidity, high temperatures, and heavy rainfall that facilitate the chemical reactions.
Yes, thank you. So here we are looking at chemical weathering is due to temperature, but this one is basically due to water and other gases within the atmosphere. Let's mute. Okay, now you have ever maybe left your knives, pangas, axes outside for a night, and then in the morning you find there some rusting taking place on them, right?
Yes.
That is an example of chemical weathering. So this means that water is reacting with that iron material to change into another, to change it into another form. So as we go further, we shall even look at equations that describe chemical weathering. So chemical weathering is the decomposition of rocks into new materials. It can be resulting into partial, partly, or complete changing of that rock into a new rock. That's what it means. And then the most element here is water. So when water gets into contact with gases like carbon dioxide, hydrogen, it is basically going to do much effect on different rocks. And this chemical weathering is very common in places which receive heavy rainfall and high temperatures. For example, if you can say equatorial regions, these are the ones that experience too much chemical weathering. Next slide, taken on by Desire. Are you there? Desire? Email, you can read. Yes, Pamela. Let me have Pamela. Okay.
It occurs in form of oxide solution others. Basically, as it rains, rainwater reaches the Earth's surface in a mixture of various gases, e.g., oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide. This solution creates a cross-section of chemical reactions which greatly weaken the rock and therefore make it decay. Therefore, new chemical compound is produced. This is what is called chemical weathering. It is mostly affected by rainwater.
Okay, that is good. You will find that you have such type of rock, and then there happens rain. I mean, the rock has cracks. Something like that is a crack. And so rainwater is going to seep through those cracks like that. So when rainwater enters in those cracks, this rainwater is mixed up with various gases like oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide. So when this water keeps in this rock for some good time, it is going to make this rock decay. It is going to make this rock decay. As it is decaying, it is changing from its original composition. If it was maybe a circuit rock, it is going to change into another type of rock. The composition of that rock has basically changed from its original into a new form of rock. So basically, when you have a new compound formed, then we shall say chemical weathering has taken place. And without water, we can't say that chemical weathering is taking place. Like in physical weathering, we saw that it takes in a form of exfoliation, block disintegration, frost heaving. So here in chemical, it is oxidation, carbonation, solution, hydrolysis, and others. We shall see them in detail. Here we are just introducing the topic. In the chat, okay, Desire says that it is raining, so she can't speak. Okay, that's okay. So that is what happens with chemical weathering. Then let's move next. Next slide is 4. So when you look at this drawing, it is showing you that water entered into this rock, and because it stayed there, it is making this rock to change from its original composition to a new one. Let me have someone reading here. Raise your hand. Okay. The first one, mute, is the one to speak. I have Caroline, I have.
Biological weathering
Okay.
refers to the breakdown of rocks into smaller particles due to the influence of plants and animals. It takes place in areas of thick vegetation cover and dense settlements. It involves the action of bacteria, plant roots, burrowing animals, and human activity.
Yes, this is biological weathering now. Do we know burrowing animals? Who knows what burrowing animals are? Caroline, do you know them?
I can give some examples,
Yes.
such as termites,
Good.
and those animals which can be found in the soil.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, so when we talk of biological weathering, so this one is aided by living things. Plants and animals, they are the ones which will cause biological weathering. You may find that it is a rock and then there are trees on it. These trees are going to extend their roots into that rock, and you find that as the tree grows, the roots down are also growing, right? And so they will start expanding the rock, thus making it break. Okay, in the chat, the Desire talks of earthworms. Okay, that's it. Then, when you look at that, these are burrowing animals. In places where there is thick vegetation, here, thick vegetation, that means that plant roots will cause biological weathering because of their roots. In places where we have earthworms, they are doing soil aeration, and so as they try to dig in the soil, they are breaking it into smaller particles. Places where we have such, what do we call this animal? How do we call this animal? How do you call that animal? The one I've circled bottom left. That is the mole. So in places where you have such animals, you know, they are in the soil trying to create their homes. So as they do that, they are breaking soil into smaller particles. And there we say there is biological weathering. In places where we have these ones, how do we call those ones?
They are ants.
They are ants. Someone is asking, what about a hen? Can we talk about hens? Hey.
They also help.
Yes, they also help because at times you find that they are trying to look for food. And so as they are doing so, they are breaking the soil into smaller particles. Which are the examples can we give?
Cattle.
Yes. So when those animals are going maybe to the water points and it is on a hilly area, what they do there, you will tell. Okay. So.
Sir, what about pigs?
Pigs. Let's not go far.
Yes.
But
But
my
they usually-
favorite animal.
Okay, it's okay then. Someone talks of rabbits, which is okay. Yes, Ime?
Earthworms.
Earthworms. Yes, they are here on the bottom right. These are earthworms. Okay, so we are going to have this activity. You can note it down. You will even find it in the Google Classroom. Yes, rats, rabbits are all caused by biological weathering. I was saying that in the chat. So you can have that activity, define the term weathering, and briefly describe the following types of weathering: physical weathering, chemical weathering, and then biological weathering. Okay. So you will find the same activity in the Google Classroom folders, and then you can submit in your activity. So we need to wrap up everything for today. We need to wrap up everything for today. And basically, we have looked at weathering. It breaks down rocks into small particles, or it decomposes them into new rocks. We have seen that in physical weathering, we are looking at basically temperature and pressure. In chemical weathering, we are looking at water, basically, and the gases within the atmosphere. Biological weathering, we are looking at the effect of plants and animals. For example, when you look at this biological weathering, plant roots, we are looking at lichens, those ones that grow on rocks. Talk of animals and insects. Animals, we have talked of moles, rats, rabbits. Insects, we have talked of ants. Human beings, when they are constructing roads, that is biological. Chemical weathering, we are looking at water, which makes the rocks to rust. Physical weathering, etc. So, in the next topic, we shall look at factors affecting the type and rate of weathering. Is that okay? So that will be in our next topic. So I'm going to display a video that will wind up our class. Those who are asking for Google Classroom, those asking for the WhatsApp group, I'm going to share a link. I'm just getting that link to share with you. And then you join it. I'm sharing shortly. So in the chat, when you look at the chat, I've shared a link. When you tap that link, it will help you to join the Google Classroom, and it will also help you to join the WhatsApp group. I'm playing a video that will conclude our lesson. Let's also watch it. Yes, someone has a question? Sharing shortly. So in the chat, when you look at, okay, I'm sharing it shortly. It is just playing. I'm trying to display it. Just hold on. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can see my screen. Okay. So let's look at this Let's look at this video briefly. Okay. I'm going to mute all of you. So what you need to do is to keep following these words here. Keep following the wording. If it goes on the right, read. If it goes on top, read. If it goes in the middle, read. That's how you will understand this video. We shall share lessons when it is done. Okay. Okay, members, that was our lesson. So, any questions that I need to address? And then we end our class. If you have a question, raise up the hand. If you have a question, raise up your hand.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
Teacher.
One by one. Yes. Yes, please ask.
Is there any form that makes rocks to weather apart from physical, chemical, and biological means?
No, those are the three forms that make rocks to weather, but we shall look at the details of each. Like if we talk of physical weathering, we shall look at all those types of physical weathering: exfoliation, disintegration, frost heaving, granular release, and the rest. Then when we go to chemical weathering, we shall look at oxidation, hydrolysis, carbonation, all those ones, we shall look at them.
And man is under which form of?
Man is under biological. If you look at this diagram, you see where I'm pointing?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, humans. When humans are constructing houses, humans are constructing roads, they are constructing pit latrines. Remember, they are digging soil. So that means that they are breaking soil into smaller particles. So they are under biological, because we said biological is for those living organisms, plants and animals. Man is under animals. Yes, Jennifer. We have 1 minute.
For me, it's not a question. We are just requesting. Could you please send a video in the group, in the WhatsApp group?
These videos are heavy because you see they are very clear, but I'm going to send the recording of this lesson. You get?
Yes.
Yes, the recording of this lesson has everything.
Okay.
Yes. Any other question that needs me to address? The link to join the WhatsApp group, I've sent the link, and I have sent the what? I've sent it in the group for joining the WhatsApp group and for joining the classrooms. For now, have a great evening. Catch you in another lesson. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
Welcome. I'm
I
sharing
wanted to see you also, Benard.
You wanted to see what?
To see you call. Why?
You want to see the teacher?
Yes.
I want to see the
Teacher, I want to see.
Can you see the teacher?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so see you next time. Yes, Bruce, your hand is up. Bruce, your hand is up. Bruce? Bruce can't talk. We are leaving the lesson now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, teacher.
When is the next lesson?
Hello.